Hey everyone, my guest today is Chase Russell. Chase is a top Republican political strategist based in Florida and president of Gray Eagle Strategies. As the founder of Right Reach and author of Winning Without Millions, Chase has built a reputation for helping conservative candidates compete and win without relying on big money backing or establishment support. Known for blending grassroots campaign instincts with cutting edge AI and innovative outreach strategies, Chase has become one of the most sought after voices in conservative political consulting. His work spans campaign strategy, political communications, and building the kind of modern infrastructure the right needs to win in today's rapidly evolving political landscape. Welcome to the show, Chase. I want to thank you for being here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited for the conversation.
I am too. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Chase Russell. I served in the United States Air Force for a little while. I did 3 tours in Afghanistan. I did another tour between Kuwait and working with the ISIS stuff that happened in 2017. I got done with that and decided to move into entrepreneurship. I met somebody that met somebody, and next thing you know, I'm in politics. So now I own Gray Eagle Strategies. We're one of the fastest growing political consulting firms, predominantly focusing on conservative Republican campaigns across the state of Florida. We run everything from presidential all the way down to city council and commission races. Currently, we're running over 200 races in the state right now. And I'm also an author. I wrote Winning Without Millions, which is basically my playbook on how to win campaigns without spending millions of dollars, because I think money in politics is a terrible combination. So
Yeah.
that's a little bit about me and everything that I've got going on. There's tons more, but I won't bore your audience with it.
So, Florida is an exciting place for politics, is what I've noticed.
It
It
is.
just, yeah, it seems like there's always something going on. I really like to see what Ron DeSantis has done with certain things, particularly the animal welfare things that he's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, Florida's always got things going on politically. It's a very big melting pot from people across the country that come here because it's a great state to live. There's no snow all over the place, so everybody
yeah.
comes down here and they bring their own political spin on things. Ron DeSantis and himself has done a fantastic job just budget wise with the state. I mean, policy wise, you can disagree with him on some things, but from a
Mhm.
budget standpoint, I think he's done a fantastic job. This year alone, we're running a huge surplus. We've ran a surplus on budget, which is almost unheard of in government. Anybody that knows anything
Yeah.
about government, the fact that they can run a surplus and not spend all of your tax money is almost unheard of. So yeah, so for 4 years now, the budget has been positive, and I commend him for that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. And then no property taxes anymore, is that correct? Or is that for certain people?
So property taxes in the state of Florida right now, there's a ballot amendment. There's a constitutional amendment that's on the ballot in November. It's called Amendment 3.
Okay.
What that will basically do for your audience, and I know it's not Florida particular, but it will basically allow you to homestead your property. So if your property is $100,000, let's say you bought your house for $100,000, it'll allow you to claim $150,000 on that exemption, which will make your property taxes completely gone if you're homestead in the state. Now, if you own a second home here, that doesn't apply to you. Then in 2028, you will have $250,000. So let's say your home is $350,000, 250,000 of it is non-taxed. So you'll still pay a little bit of property taxes, and hopefully that'll phase out over time. But right now it's on the ballot for November, which needs 60% to pass. And hopefully, I think most people don't want to pay taxes. So I
Right.
think it's gonna pass with some flying colors, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, I always hope that Iowa is paying attention to Florida, which they did finally become the last state to make animal cruelty a felony. So I'm like, okay, so maybe you guys are paying attention to other states. Texas is pretty wild sometimes too, um, and almost unpredictable. But Florida, there just seems to be so much new things. Like he's just trying trying new things to make people happy down there. I love it.
I mean, there's different, we call them voter blocks, for instance, from the campaign world. So,
Hmm.
obviously, if everybody has their own issues. For instance, maybe it's property tax reform, maybe it's veterans, maybe it's, animal rights. So, with that being said, I mean, it's important to hit each one of those voter blocks. In the state of Florida, we do a very good job about grants. The
Uh,
reason the budget is so positive here and we run such a surplus is that we let the private sector come in and handle a lot of these. I'm not going to say smaller issues, but they are issues that are very niche to a certain community. As far as animal rights go or animal cruelty and stuff like that, we've got an amazing attorney general. He will prosecute people that
yeah,
there's been multiple dog fighting rings here in the state.
yeah,
And they prosecute people to the utmost extent, and I 100% agree with that. I think if you harm an animal, you should definitely see some consequences to it. But going back, we do a lot of public private partnership. So the
uh-huh,
government gives out grants to the humane societies, gives out grants. They spend a lot of money in doing that, and allows the better funded and better understood sides of the private sector to come in and handle those issues instead of the government doing, because almost, I take a very libertarian approach on this. Anytime the government gets involved in something, it typically doesn't work out very well.
right, right.
So allowing the private sector to come in and say, hey, we know the issues in my community, we know the issues that are facing maybe more rural communities versus city type communities. So
Mhm.
allowing those smaller sections to be funded by grants is really what Florida's done very well. And Texas has kind of done that model as well. I don't know too much about Iowa, but Texas has kind of done it as well.
Yeah. That all right. So is it James Uthmeyer or Uthmeyer, the
Uthmeyer,
Attorney General?
yeah.
Uthmeyer. I've been saying it wrong. All right.
I don't think
Yeah.
I've met him a few times. I don't think he'll care. He's a pretty cool guy, to be honest with you.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, I recently had him with the trying to prosecute Fauci on a state level. I had mentioned that in a previous episode, and I always ask myself, Uthmeyer or Uthmeyer? But okay, so what made you want to start Great Eagle Strategies?
I think it's, again, it kind of fell into my lap how I got into politics, but with Gray Eagle Strategies, I saw there's a need for principled people to get into office. I talk
Mhm.
to a lot of people. I talk to great people, and they have no idea what they're doing. They're not in politics. They're not the career politician. They don't have all the connections. And with that, they have great ideas. And that's really what it takes to be in public office, is to come in with a new and a fresh idea that's actually going to help people, um, and be willing to work with other people. So I saw the need for an organization that was outside of the political establishment, that was willing to take on these candidates that had great integrity, great character, that actually stood for something,
Mhm.
and give them a fighting chance to actually get elected. So that's really where Gray Eagle Strategies came in. I took all of the things that I knew about marketing. I took all of the things that I knew about the public relations side of things, and I put it into Gray Eagle Strategies, and I just started talking to people that were really wanting to run and were just decent people that had great ideas, that weren't beholden to special interest groups, that weren't part of that establishment. Um, and it's been very successful. We kind of took a very outside
Yeah.
approach to political campaigning, and we still do. Um, so that's really where Gray Eagle came to be, is having that idea that good people can actually get elected, because everybody thinks, oh, politicians, they're all corrupt, they're all
Right.
terrible. And that's kind of sad. That's really kind of a bad place to be. And I think that the trust in institutions across America has dwindled over the past decade or two. And Gray Eagle really wants to bring that back by getting real people elected, real everyday Americans in office that know what the issues are, that know what we're going through.
Right. Yeah, because I do think that it takes a combination of a few different skills, and there's a lot of people have a lot of great ideas. So being able to give them that step up on, maybe better communication or, obviously we had talked or previously talked about funding, maybe an issue. So like fundraising,
Yeah.
um, there's a lot that goes into it. And I do think that there is this perception that, oh, if you've been raised with money and connections, that's what it takes to be a politician. But a lot of these people, if you can just give their voice a platform, I think that goes a long ways.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people I talk with that are just they're amazing people. Like I've met their wives, their kids, their husbands, they're amazing people. They've missed mortgage payments. They've had,
Mhm.
they've lived a real life. They maybe served in the military. They don't come from this political establishment background. They don't have millions of dollars to dump into an account. They don't have the fancy dinner parties and everything along the lines of that. All they have are really good ideas. Now, how do we take that person with character and really good ideas, and how do we hone in their message? How do I get them in front of the right people? How do I do the press releases for them perfectly so that message resonates? And this is the difference between campaigns ran with Gray Eagle and campaigns ran with, I'm not going to say all other consulting agencies, but we take a movement first approach, and this is a longer term strategy, and it takes longer to build because you're building a movement. You're not building you're not spending $1 million on TV ads and this, that, and the other to create an impression of a movement. You're actually creating a movement.
Mhm.
So with that, I mean, it is more difficult to run campaigns this way, but it's much more effective long term. And at the end of the day, you get somebody that I know is going to actually work in the best interest of the people they represent. And that's something I take a lot of pride in. And
Yeah.
that's a founding block here at Gray Eagle Strategies, is making sure that the person we get elected is actually going to do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah. How many people do you have on your team?
So we have vendors that we use for certain niche things, for instance, like text messages, mailers, stuff like that. As far as my team goes, I keep it small.
Mhm.
I've got a few deputy campaign managers that run smaller campaigns. Then I've got a few assistants and stuff like that. Overall, we've got about 5 or 6 people on the entire team. And then I've got independent contractors and stuff like that. So we're a large team overall, but niche and gray or within Gray Eagle small.
Okay, gotcha. And you said you're working on how many right now?
We've got altogether almost 200 campaigns.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't run campaigns. A lot of people think we run campaigns completely, and that is the case. Sometimes we come on, we do what's called the general consulting of the campaign. Then we have the campaign manager. Then you have your ad specialist, your PR specialist. So we do come in and do that with some campaigns, but typically most of the time we come in and do niche services for a particular campaign. So if it's a congressional campaign, obviously a larger campaign, we might just be doing political digital ads, or we might just be setting up PR or stuff like that. So we don't necessarily run all of the campaign entirely
Mhm.
within Gray Eagle, but we're part of it. So it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to explain. Definitely hard to explain this in this short amount of time. We'll have to come back on and explain the
Yeah.
details of political campaigning, but um, yeah, altogether we're working on about 200 campaigns. Fully
Yeah.
running campaigns, we're doing 17.
Okay. Okay. That makes
It's
more
busy.
sense. I'm like, wow, that's so much work, I feel
It's
like.
it's very busy. But when
Yeah.
you're good at it, it's not a lot of work. When you get something done, and then you just are constantly updating the client and making sure everything's on par with the strategy.
Right. Right. So what is the biggest hurdle you see candidates having while running for office?
I would say believing in themselves, to be entirely honest with you. A lot of the times it's convincing the candidate that there's a strategy, that there's a process, and that as long as we just stick to it, it's going to go well. Candidates that I work with are they take a different approach. They're not like the establishment candidates where they're like, I know I'm going to win. I've got tons of money.
Right.
I'll just throw money at the problem. These candidates have to grind. They have to work. My candidates, my congressional candidate this last election cycle, or a few of them, I have them calling voters 3.5 hours a day, every single day, Monday through
Mhm.
Friday, sometimes on Saturday. When they're not doing that, they're door knocking. When you do a grassroots campaign, and a lot of people look down on grassroots campaigns, but those are the ones that win. Those are the ones that actually get people to come out and vote because they've met somebody face to face. So
Yes.
getting a candidate to believe in themselves and just trust the process is probably the
Yeah,
hardest part from the candidate side.
that makes sense. So I hadn't been too involved in elections aside from voting and being tuned in on politics. I've always followed politics, but until the Trump campaign for 2024, I was the caucus captain for that. But I also just started going to more events and seeing other people speak. And I I mean, I really got to see firsthand how much work some of these underdogs put into um, to trying to get elected. Vivek Ramaswamy was here in Iowa. He had stopped at like 11 different places. We were his last stop. There was a school shooting in the same town that he was at that day,
Wow.
and he was a little bit late for the event, and I heard someone like, "Oh, he's late. That's it. You know, you can't be somewhere on time. You can't be president." And it's like, do you realize he was in a town with a school shooting earlier, and he was at 10 different places in one day? And Iowa's rural. You can't just hop from city to city. Like, there's some miles in between there. And you could tell he was exhausted, and he still took time to meet every single person. And I mean, if you don't like him, you don't like him. But to me, that spoke volumes to see how hard he had worked that day.
You can tell the candidates that work hard.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell the candidates that put in a lot of effort. I actually, in Winning Without Millions, I detail a few campaigns like that, the ones that work hard and the ones that are just there for recognition. And I think that's the telltale sign of if somebody's going to work hard for you in Congress or a county commission is how are they willing to go to 10 events. They're waking up, some of these candidates, and I've been in the room with them and traveled with them, and they're going to 10 events. They're up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They're probably they've been on the road all day. They haven't spoken to their wife or their husband in a few days. They haven't seen their kids. They don't realize that putting themselves out there it's a lot of work. It's a strain on a family. And people want to look at politicians as if they're perfect or they have to be perfect. And it's not necessarily that's not the case. And it probably wasn't even his fault that he was late. Maybe a staffer had some issue or there is a lot of work that goes into campaigning. It is a full-on sprint for a year and a half. Sometimes I've ran even 2-3 year long campaigns. It's a full-on sprint. I think there should be a documentary about political campaigning at some point. I think people would because I get questions about it all the time. It's a very niche, obviously doing what I do. It's very niche. You don't meet too many people that do what I do.
Yeah.
So of course everybody wants to come to me with every political question known to man, which is fine.
Yeah.
I love answering them, but it's a lot of work when you're managing a digital team. You're basically starting a business from the ground up and managing an entire schedule. So you've got obviously all the events, all of the digital side of it, all of the promoting of them, all of the travel. It's a lot. It's exhausting. And this time of year, I mean, I don't know when this will air, but August 18th primaries are coming up here in the state of Florida. It is every day, all day for about 12 hours a day, Monday through Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you sign up for.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about my sponsors quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening and I need a boost, but I don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Led Zeppelin and Beatles apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found some items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family-owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder it's receiving 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. I guess if I were the political candidate, if someone could take care of the social media and anything that I have to do on the phone, that would be, I'll go wherever you want and I'll talk and do whatever you want. Just take care of the phone crap for me and the social media,
That's the key. I mean, that's what Gray Eagle Strategies does for the most part, is we are coming on to handle the nuances. We're coming on to handle the entire management of the campaign. If people think that, the campaign manager runs the campaign, and that's not necessarily the case. The campaign manager manages the candidate. He or she is the one that's making sure they're at these events, basically like an assistant to an extent. The general consultant on a campaign is the one that's handling all of the strategy, everything down to volunteers, everything down to text messages going out, mailers going out, stuff like that. Where the candidate's primary, and I tell every candidate this, the candidate's primary goal is to meet voters, talk to voters, share his ideas, because that's the whole point, is to make sure that the voter knows what he stands for, he or she stands for, and that's articulated properly, and then make phone calls and raise money if need be. Outside of that, the candidate shouldn't be the one doing the digital ads. Now, if it's a smaller city council campaign or something, obviously you don't have staffers for all of those things, but you'd be a great candidate if that's what you want to do, is just go talk to people and meet people. You'd be a fantastic candidate.
Yeah. Okay, so weird question. Do they typically have to scrub their social media accounts? Like, if they had a MySpace account, would it be recommended they get online and delete that from years ago?
I don't necessarily like to tell people to change who they are. If it's something, if the candidate was 17 and made a dumb video while he may have had too many drinks at a party, or 17, 21, at a college frat party or something, then it'd be like, let's maybe not try and showcase that. But I don't deep dive into the past of all of my candidates. Do I run a background to make sure they're not on some type of terrorist watch list? Yes, I'm not going to waste my time running that. But to the extent of going back and scrubbing your past, I don't necessarily see that as a thing. I think people want to see you're human. They want to see, and this is actually one of the chapters in my book as well. They want to see imperfection. They want to see that this is a real person, because what's happened is we've polished candidates so much to make them, for instance, Vivek, when he was late, he was so polished that he can't even be late. Like, everybody's late. That's just something that happens. That's everyday life. So going back and scrubbing everything makes you look polished and too polished, and voters see through that, and it breaks the trust barrier that you should be building off of, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I suppose if something looks too perfect, you're not going to trust it. You're going to be like, okay, well, what are they hiding then?
Yep. That's my
Yeah.
mom used to say, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too true. It's probably not true. So,
Yeah.
if somebody looks too perfect, if their family looks too perfect, you can't. Voters can't resonate with that because again, everybody's got their problems. Whether it's you've got fighting with your parents, or you're fighting with your spouse, or you're fighting with your kids, like that needs to be seen in a public light. They need to see
Uh-huh.
you as a human, see you as somebody that's been in the trenches, somebody that's again missed the mortgage payment, somebody that's maybe defaulted on a credit card or gotten a flat tire or got angry in public. Like those things, people
Yeah.
need to see you as a real human.
Yeah. Yeah, our governor, Kim Reynolds, there was just an article a couple weeks ago about how she has had two OWIs or DUIs
Mm-hmm.
and how that relates, it makes her more relatable. That's like kind of a problem here in Iowa. Almost everyone has an OWI. And it's like, so I'm like, well, it kind of sounds insulting to Iowans, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, it makes her more relatable to Iowans if that's something people get in trouble for a lot. But
I mean, a DWI, we call them DUIs down here in Florida, but
okay.
OWI, is that operating while
Yeah.
intoxicated?
Uh-huh.
That's probably because you guys have like horses and tractors and stuff. It's not driving.
Yes, you can. You can get in you can get in trouble for that. Yep.
With that being so, it can.
Mhm.
I don't recommend it.
Right.
Probably not a good. I don't recommend anybody get a DUI, but it can. I mean, voters in different states and different counties and different regions all over the United States see things differently, and that's something that you have to understand when you take on a client. I mean, I'm sixth generation from Florida, so I know how Florida operates. I know how Floridians
Mhm.
think. I know I've been here a long time. My parents have been here a long time. It's nothing new to me. I know Florida as a culture, so I can
Yeah.
understand that if a client gets a DUI, sure, we're gonna have to handle that accordingly.
Mhm.
But if in Iowa that's a thing, it might not be the end all be all. It might.
Right.
You're right. It might let people resonate with you a little better.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's certain things people can forgive imperfections. I will say that people will always forgive imperfections.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and kind of like you were saying, when it makes someone more relatable and real, it is easy to forgive. I feel like that the people that are that seem disingenuous, you kind of hone in on everything that they do wrong.
Yeah, so I mean, look at Trump, for instance. Trump has built, whether you like him or not, Trump has built a standard of being imperfect. So
Mhm.
he came into office saying, "Hey, I'm not going to be perfect." If you can show that you're realistic, it's the people that try and put on the mask of being perfect, then it comes off, then people feel duped. And that's where the issue lies. It's not necessarily that you were imperfect. People can forgive that. It's that you duped them into thinking they were perfect. Whether they know that or not, whether it's a subconscious something that voters do subconsciously, I don't know. But it's the
Mhm.
duping. It's the you fooled me into thinking you were this perfect person, or that your marriage was perfect, or that your kids were all of these things. Uh, you didn't showcase your imperfections. Therefore, when the imperfection came up, you duped somebody. That's where the issue lies.
Right. Yeah. So kind of speaking about Trump and the political climate, do you think that there is a lot of people say that it's going to get worse. The fighting between parties is going to get worse before it gets better. People are concerned about the DSA. Where do you see things going?
I think you will see a fraction. I think you're already seeing it. You'll see a fraction, a loud minority of people on the Democrat and the Republican side. You see it on the Republican side as well, that are going to fracture off and go extremely far left and extremely far
Mhm.
right. And the majority of Americans, statistically, this isn't even my opinion, but talking to voters all day long, it's a pretty good opinion. um, you see most people land in the middle. And I think if more neighbors came together and just had conversations, they'd realize that even if they vote Democrat or Republican, they agree on more things than they think about. Just from polling data on certain issues that would be seen as liberal issues versus conservative issues, surprisingly they agree a lot more than people think. As far as where I think the United States is going from a political standpoint,
Mhm.
I would hope that we come more together and we start to realize that America is the greatest experiment on earth. It is freedom in itself is the greatest experiment. And if the freedom in America dies, then it's not coming back. So with that being said, I would hope that the next generation, the younger generation, I'm 32, so I'm not that old. But I would say
Yeah.
that 2021, these newer voters that are coming in are very savvy on not being fooled, and they don't go right or left. They go what's best for America.
Mhm.
That's a positive. Honestly, in my opinion, I think that's a positive thing. I think that's something that more Americans need to step in and go, hey, yeah, you're right. We need to just vote for what's best for me and my family and my community, and stop the infighting of left versus right. Now, there's some
Yeah.
ideologies, in my personal opinion, I think there's some ideologies that need to be, hey, we're not going to go down that road. Uh,
Right.
you know, I won't detail what they are, but there's some of them that are very dangerous that we should probably be pretty concerned about and condemn as a nation.
Mhm. Absolutely. Do you think that the younger generation can kind of see, with technology and social media just going crazy? Uh, like, I don't, you're a little younger than me. So at one point in time, you couldn't be on Facebook unless you were a university student, and I think it had to be like one of those Ivy League colleges, and then they opened it up to university and then any college, and then suddenly 13-year-olds are on Facebook. But do you think that the younger generations can kind of see the internet manipulation, and that's why they're having an easier time voting for what they think is right versus what the TV is telling them?
Yeah, 100%. The 25 to 35 generation, my generation is
Mhm.
very, we're more likely, statistically, we're more likely to talk with our friends about our voting habits or our political beliefs, and we're more likely to have people that surround ourselves with the same political beliefs than we are to believe any type of hit ad. Or any type of ad in general, and this is why the hit ads, for instance, are not as effective. I don't hardly ever recommend hit ads.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, that's you probably will never hear a consultant say that. There's very rare times when a hit ad is doable because of the trust factor.
Mhm.
The trust factor between that 25 and 35 generation is 87% of that generation does not trust the government, nor do they trust politicians. And that's a Pew Research did that poll last year. And it's only dwindled. In the 60s, it was 12%. Now it's 87%. So the amount of trust between that generation or that demographic group is so low.
Yeah.
So then this is why I think the resurgence of podcasting is so amazing, because people will listen to your podcast and they trust you and they build brand trust with you, so they will listen to you. And I think that's why you saw the Trump administration do a very good job in his 2024 bid when he was doing these podcasts. He was reaching that demographic. He was having the long form podcast where it's
Mhm.
3 hours. You can BS somebody for about 45 minutes. Most politicians can. I've seen this
Yeah.
happen 1,000 times. They can BS you for about 45 minutes. After the 45-minute mark, you start to get tired. Then your brain stops going through talking points and you start to become who you really are, which is why a
Mhm.
lot of people, they'll listen to a 3-hour podcast, and it
Right.
builds that trust.
Right. I can see that. And I can see why certain people chose not to do a 3-hour podcast, because you're going to get pressed, and something's going to maybe be said that you didn't want it to be said, or it's going to be obvious if you're dodging something, if you're doing it repeatedly for 3 hours.
Yep. You can tell I've got candidates, not ones that I personally work with, but there's candidates, they won't do an interview if they don't get the questions beforehand. Me
Mhm.
personally, when I set up any of my candidates to do interviews, I tell them we're not having I don't want the questions beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, will we go through talking points and stuff like that and kind of prep? Obviously, we don't want to go anything, completely blindsided. If we're talking to an animal rights group, we don't want to be talking about, Amendment 3 on the ballot. That just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, too, if you can go in, if you're a candidate that needs to have the questions beforehand, you should reevaluate where your actual stances are, because a lot of these questions should be able to be answered pretty quickly off the cusp. And going
Hmm.
back to what you were talking about with Vivek, him staying behind and answering questions and just sitting in the crowd, that's the key determining factor on whether that candidate is being genuine with you or not. For instance, I was with Byron Donalds running for
Yeah.
governor here in the state of Florida a few weeks ago. It was a Sunday, and he drove up. He was in Tallahassee the day before, drove down about 4 hours, was now at this event, and stayed for 2 hours and talked to every single person that came up. There was a line out the door wanting to ask him questions, and he talked with them the entire
Yeah.
time. I was like, that right there tells you that he knows the issues. He's comfortable talking with people about the issues. And if he doesn't know the question, just say, I don't know I don't know the answer. Uh,
Yeah.
it's not, at some point, it's be a decent human and just connect with people. And that's, I think, where political campaigns have kind of gotten it wrong over the past decade or two.
Yeah, I was talking about this with someone else. If you don't know the answer, you can always say, you know what, I'm not sure, but I will look into this and answer it on social media or something. I'll give you the answer once I've informed myself of the situation a little bit better.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, for instance, the animal rights thing we were talking about before, that's not something I'm well versed in. Um, but you're able to just sit back and say, I don't know. And that builds the trust, because again, now you're human. Now
Hmm.
it's like you and I don't know the answer to everything. I'm not AI. I don't, I don't
Right.
control the world. Um, with that being said, it's okay to step back and say, I don't know, and build that trust with the voter. And then if you answer the question, on the flip side of that coin, if you answer the question,
Yeah.
imagine just the impact you now have on that voter, that he took the time out of his day to actually research, got back with me, or at least sent me an email or posted it on social media.
Hmm.
That builds a lot of trust. That's a great strategy.
Yeah. There were 2 points you made that I kind of connected earlier, which was the attack campaigns. And then you had also mentioned, kind of at the beginning of our conversation, making sure that you're getting candidates' ideas, out there. And I think that people are starting to realize that, when you're running an attack campaign, you're not telling the voter anything about yourself. And so many people are just running on Trump, 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 either anti-Trump or, oh, I supported Trump on this thing. And it's
Mhm.
like, I mean, I guess if you're saying, oh, I supported Trump on this bill, that shows that you did something. But if the campaigns are just completely attacking someone and not saying like what you're going to do, what you'll do differently, what are you running on then?
There's no substance to your campaign, and this is why I say attack ads are need to be used very specifically. If they're not used specifically, then you boil down into deteriorating the trust that you've built with voters over the past 6, 7, 8 months. Um, with that being said, though, I almost never recommend hit campaigns. I want to build trust with people, and if you're willing to send out a hit campaign on your competitor and not run on the issues, or think your ideas are solid enough to actually run on, then probably not going to vote for you because I can't trust you.
Right.
And statistically, a lot of, again, that 25 to 35 voter block, especially amongst men, a hit campaign deteriorates that vote significantly, and that's one of the largest voter blocks demographics wise,
Yeah.
outside of the 60 plus, which the boomer generation is. They're great voters, they're fantastic voters, almost
Yeah.
all of them are super voters. But I think that hit campaigns are, or running, even to hit on your points with the Trump stuff, to just run your entire campaign on pro Trump. I like
Mhm.
Trump. I support Trump. I think he's been a great president, but at the same time, too, he's going to be gone in 2 years. So what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? You can say I support Trump's agenda, but now explain to me what Trump's agenda is and how you plan to
Hmm.
support it. Give me some substance to it. Voters are smart nowadays. With AI, with ChatGPT, you can type in a name and get everything they've ever voted on. You can see everything they've said. You've got to
Yeah.
be clear on your messaging at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like the audience to know?
I enjoy talking to people that might not want to run, or the people that have sat in bed at night that say, "Hey, man, I should run for school board or I should run for county commission." I enjoy telling those people actually do it. If you're having those thoughts and you have that conviction on your heart, go do it.
Hmm.
Whether you win or not, whether you contact me or not, it's not a sales pitch for Grey Eagle. I've got 200 campaigns to run. I'm pretty busy. But
Yeah.
with that being said, I think there needs to be a resurgence of principled people with integrity that are normal people that drop their kids off at soccer practice, go to the PTA meetings, that maybe their kids are out of the house and they're retired now here in Florida and they want to give back. And those types of people need to get involved. And I say this a lot. A lot of people ask me, "Hey, why do you do politics? It's such a dirty game." If you don't do it, somebody bad will. Uh,
Hmm.
and I always like to tell that to people. So that would be my sales pitch for people. Get involved. Go out to your local committee meetings. Go out, get involved in the school boards. You don't realize how much those small communities organizations actually affect your day to day and your kids or your spouse's day to day lives. So go get involved.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, where can everybody find you?
So you can go over to chaserussellofficial.com. I'm also on X and Instagram. I've got my book that just came out on the 1st of August, Winning Without Millions. If you're interested in political strategy campaigning or maybe you're thinking about running a campaign, you can order
Mhm.
the book there. It's on Amazon as well. So you can head over to chaserussellofficial.com and you can connect with me there.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for being here today. It was a fun conversation. I feel like it went fast. Your your dog's ready for you to peace out.
He is. He's ready to go. But no, thanks
Sounds
so
good.
much for having me on. That flew by like crazy. So
Well, we'll keep in touch. I'll let you know when the episode is out, and I'll talk to you soon.
awesome. Thanks, Sam. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Yep. Thank
Bye.
you.